Hey, I'm born. Oh, okay. It looks like Jack made it. Good.
What happened?
Hey guys.
What happened?
Live chat. I was born. Oh, look. I saw your most recent video eating Chinese food with the guy from San Francisco. I was born in San Francisco. I'm gonna move to Thailand maybe next year. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Jack, are you also Chinese American? Oh, hey, Pat. Pat's on. Man, if there was nobody waiting, I was just gonna do it public. Oh, yeah. We're by the way, we're at a cat cafe called Catterday Cafe, and
Not.
yeah, same deal as last week, but it's cat cafe as opposed to a dog cafe.
I don't
Okay.
know anymore.
Yeah, there's so many. Let me just sort of show you guys what's here. So we ordered this Thai iced tea frappe. We got this cat just chilling here. He likes to put his head up against this, but I don't know. Like my two dogs. Oh, yeah. I used to have a pug, and I had to give it away. It was sad, but it was good because for the dog because I gave him away to like a family who was probably gonna take better care of it than me.
Mm.
Oh yeah, Catterday Cafe. Oh yeah. Well, we're looking at the Polaroid pictures outside, and it seems like celebrities come here. So yeah, it's quite a popular place. It's nice. It's pretty chill. Yeah, lots of tourists. It's 2 p.m. and if you come here in the evenings, these cat cafes, they get even worse. Yeah. Anyways, you guys have any questions? Anything you want us to talk about?
Oikeastaan.
No, no
Napkins.
comments. No questions. Oh, the owner's a celebrity. Oh, I didn't know that. Jack, you got no questions? Anything? Huh. Okay, so you know what? I might just do a public live stream anyways because I was thinking from the beginning that I wanted to do like one of these live streams a month, completely public for everybody, and then answer like other questions that I get on my channel that I don't really want to type out a long response for. But two things that are like on top of my head right now, it's visas, and the other thing is just about the basic logistics of coming here, dealing with money, where you keep uh, your. Are you interested in visa issues as well, Jack? And the other thing is like, what you do with your passport, how you carry around money. Somebody asked me a question around this, and I was gonna respond in public in regards to this. If you guys are interested in hearing it too, I will. Oh, you got no problems with the visas? Yeah. That's how I feel like it is. Yeah. Somebody was just wondering what they do with money. They're like, do you carry around tens of thousands of baht in your wallet? What, do you carry around your passport? Okay, Jack. You're interested in the money. I know you're talking about on our first stream. You're worried about the exchange rates, right? Yeah, exactly. Cash is king out here. So I sort of switched using. Um, is it hard to open a bank account? Well, yes. Let's discuss this. So maybe I'll discuss this, and then after I finish this live stream, I'll make it public so I don't have to answer this question again and again and again. Um, but first of all, if you're planning on staying here long term, then yeah, I do recommend that you open a bank account here in Thailand. It makes your life so easy. I mean, even without a bank account, it's relatively easy because you can pay even your utilities, like your electric bills. Like True is a big company out here. They have like kiosks, and you can even pay it at 7-Eleven, which you'll see everywhere. So you just take the bill and you pay the bill at 7-Eleven with cash.
I can even pay by through the application.
Okay, well, she's talking about the bank accounts now. So in the very beginning, I didn't open a bank account. The fourth bank opened one for me, but I didn't have the residency doc. That's why. Okay, could you expand on your experience for that? Because there are, okay, so people's experiences opening bank accounts here are varied. And I opened my bank account 2 years ago, so I don't know if there's any new regulations. But even back then, there were varied reports, and even my experience was varied with the same bank at different branches. But oh my gosh, I thought that was a naked butt. Okay, but
Oh, there's a coming. There's a flat guy coming. Flat guy. Flat guy coming. Sorry.
but that was,
Flat guy coming.
bank accounts are, I think, in my opinion, relatively easy to open. First of all, if you know people out here, you can get anything done with connections. My first bank account that I opened was Citibank. They have a Citibank branch out here. I already had a relationship with Citibank in America. I had over $25,000 sitting in that Citibank account, which I no longer have. But if you have, back in the days in Citibank, it's like 3, 4 years, it's probably still true today. If you have a Citibank account with more than like $25,000, you get a gold relationship. And with that gold relationship, you get benefits overseas. So the Thai, it gets really interesting, but the Citibank in Thailand is under a different charter and not completely associated with the Citibank in America. So there are certain things that you can't do as of 2 years ago. They might have changed it, but you can't do like the online transfers. Like there are other Citibanks, I think like in India and Vietnam, or I forgot, but a couple other ones are related to the American one. So you can just transfer money ACH online. That was Bangkok BK, the only bank I wanted because it's easy to transfer from US. Exactly. So Citibank is quite convenient. You'll find that if you have a gold relationship with them, then the ATM fees were discounted. And when I was transferring money from the States 2 years ago to buy my condo, I did all the research, and the best exchange rate was with Citibank. And you also get an additional discount on the exchange rate currency conversion if you have a gold account. So, and then the wire transfer fees were discounted. I know they were quoting me something like 16 days for the wire to happen, but I think I only ended up paying $8, $9 for a wire, and it took less than a week for my money to arrive from the States to here. So back to opening that account, um, I needed a utility bill, which at that time I didn't have because I was just using an international SIM card out here. So not an international SIM card from the States, but they have what's called the international SIM. True offers it, AIS now offers it. It's like $10 to get like monthly service. And it's like a prepaid SIM card. But at that time, I'm like, well, I'm planning on buying a house here, so I'll probably be needing this, even though I was like traveling very frequently. And if you get a postpaid, then the bills are slightly cheaper anyways. So the Citibank I went to is the one in Asok. If you're out here, you'll know where that is. Asok is like a very popular junction. And you can't miss Citibank. Citibank, I think, owns that building. You see a big Citibank logo on the building across Terminal 21. So I think that might be their main branch. I went there and I said I want to open a bank account because I need a bank account to buy this condo. And then they said I needed a utility bill. What? There's no fees to transfer money to Bangkok Bank from Wells Fargo? Huh. That could be true. I'm gonna check that out. I might open a Bangkok Bank account because I have Wells Fargo. Um, yeah, Wells Fargo has a remittance deal, and I know they used to have remittances to Mexico, like 6, 7, 8 countries, including Philippines. So they might have set up a remittance agreement with Bangkok Bank. So if that's the case, yeah, I'll definitely check it out, and that's good information, Fidelity. But I haven't been in the States, for 3, 4, 5 years, so I haven't. Geez, that would be really, really helpful because now I can then use, the Patreon donations that you make. I have to pay Mayu for the voice recorder that I'm getting from Japan. So, yeah, I could just transfer it without much of a fee. Thanks. I'll definitely save your Patreon patronage is gonna go a lot further if I do that. But back to opening the bank account. When I went there, they said they needed a utility bill, and then they needed an address. At that time, I was living at my aunt's condo. Okay, so Jack here is saying that they recently dropped the fee up to $5,000 overnight or up to $15,000 for 3 days. I mean, yeah, that's really good. $5,000 overnight. I mean, I used to teach doctor English to go to the States. Actually, I just saw on Instagram that they came back, and they're doing like a special program. They already are doctors, but they want to like specialize in pediatric eye surgery from the top person in the world or something. And they were telling me for like a trauma situation, like let's say you get in a horrible road accident or whatever, you shouldn't pay more than like 100,000 baht out here. And yeah, just to be on the safe side, it's better to have like 5,000. Now 100,000 baht is like $3,000. So 5,000, yeah, I mean, you're not gonna really have many situations where you're gonna need more than $5,000 overnight. 15,000 over 3 days should be more than enough. I purchased my condo for 25,000, 50,000. Now I forget. Like 50,000. So it's not something you're gonna decide overnight. So that should be more than enough. I'll definitely check out on that information, Bangkok Bank, and check out Wells Fargo and see if they have a remittance agreement. I'm familiar with a lot of these services because I used to work in banking, like on the retail side. That's why I have bank accounts with every retail bank because I know all the pros and cons with them. And then there's like, I use different banks for different reasons. But okay, back to opening a bank account. I needed utility and I needed an address. At that time, I was just living in my aunt's condo. She owned it, but it's not mine, so it's not under my name or anything. And what I eventually did was I went across the building from Terminal 21 Citibank to um, the True Store on Terminal 21. And True Store is a telecommunications company, by the way. A lot of you guys already know that. And I set up a postpaid phone plan. Now, the postpaid phone plans out here, the one I set up was only 250 baht a month. I asked about it. They didn't even have an early termination or anything out here. So even if you, it's like they said it was a year contract, but I'm like, well, what if I cancel it before a year? And they're like, you can cancel it. I didn't really understand it. You know, maybe the communication was off, but I found that like there aren't huge termination fees out here like in the States. Even the States don't have it now. But back then, it was like very common for termination fees to do. But there shouldn't be much of a termination fee. Even my cable TV and my internet. This one I know very in detail because I set this up recently. The termination fee is only the cost of the router and the installation cost, and they actually deduct it based on when you cancel it. So they calculated, I think it wasn't more than 3,000 baht. It was not that much, like less than 100 bucks for the installation and the router cost. And basically, I have to be with AIS for a year, and if I'm not with them for a year, for example, let's say I'm with them for 6 months, then they will like subtract 50% off of that installation cost, and I have to pay like 1,500. So they're, they're really honest with you with these early termination and stuff like that. They're not like the States where they'll screw you over with contracts. So you don't have to worry too much about it, I don't think. Double check before you sign anything though. But I set that up. I'm like, well, there's nothing to lose, postpaid. So I set it up, and right then and there, I didn't have an actual bill because it's postpaid. I have to wait a month. But they just, okay, Pat's saying usually for internet contract is about a year. Yeah, most contracts are a year long. And basically all it's doing is they're covering for the installation and the router and equipment costs. And actually, after a year, you get to keep your router. So like I was using this other internet company because I pay for it, right? With that year-long contract, and they're amortizing, depreciating that over that year as part of my plan. When I canceled it after a year, I'm like, okay, where do I bring back the router? This is quite normal thing to do in the States. They're like, no, it's yours. Phone and internet, yeah. So they're like, yeah, you don't have to bring back your router, it's yours. So now I have like a router. I don't know what to do with it because the new company gave me a new router. Yeah, so anyways, that's just sort of telecommunications on the side. That's how it works. But yeah, as far as opening that bank account, they gave me a printout that I set up this service, right? And then obviously it has my address on there because I have to give them an address to send the bills. And based on that, I opened the bank account at Citibank. But there's a big catch to this. I had that gold relationship with Citibank in America. So then they opened this really fancy gold account here, which you cannot even open with $25,000 relationship. The gold account here, you need a much larger relationship. I forgot what it was. It was like $100,000 at least, I think. Thais have to have $100,000 to get that gold account. But Citibank has a policy of keeping your relationship in the States and here. And if you qualify for that gold relationship in the States, then you qualify for a gold relationship out here. So they linked it. And even after I transferred my money, Pat from UCSC master's program, what's your major and what's your plan? Stay US or international? Oh, okay. Jack is having a conversation with my other Patreon. That's cool. I'll continue. Anyways, Okay, I just lost my train of thought. So after you can basically get a relationship, and what happened is after I transfer that money, because I was buying a condo at that time, I no longer had a gold relationship in America with Citibank, but Citibank, just based on the fact that they originally verified that there was a gold relationship in the States, just kept my gold relationship out here, even after I canceled my gold relationship in America because I wasn't meeting their minimum balance requirement and I didn't want a monthly fee. So I only recently closed Citibank out here just because I kept it open, but I wasn't really using it and it was going into dormant status. Because I'm not transferring money from the States. I got no more money left in the States to transfer over here. So I canceled it. In hindsight, I'm like, oh, who knows, but I don't think I'll ever be making huge amounts of money back in the States. Um, so I just canceled it. I don't want to deal with that. So later on, I opened up a K Bank. And K Bank is the bank, if you had to open up one bank account, now with this information about Bangkok Bank and remittance from America, this completely changes the whole dynamics. But the two banks you'll see most frequently out here, it's K Bank first, and there's almost just as much, but not as much, SCB, Siam Commercial Bank, right? And then after that, I would say it's Bangkok Bank, right? Yeah. I mean, when I went to Laos, I think I saw a Siam Commercial Bank and a K Bank there too. I mean, they're big banks. Um, One thing that with my American concept I was thinking about is I want a bank where they have a lot of ATMs. So, because I'm mainly traveling, and what do I need this bank account for? It's to withdraw money, right? And that relatively isn't as important out here as I found because the banks don't really charge that much in ATM withdrawal fees. I don't know the exact policy behind it, but all my friends say, you can just keep withdrawing. They're not going to charge you extra even if you withdraw from another bank. Mayu, what was it? You said K Bank offers
3 or 4 times.
3 or 4 times withdrawal from another bank.
But outside of the Bangkok, if you withdraw, they have a fee. That's just funny thing, even the same bank.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
remember when you went to?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but when I went to like Khao Yai, which is only like an hour away, they charged me a bit of money because it's not a K Bank inside Bangkok. So even with the same bank, if you're outside, you get charged a slight fee. And I imagine you would get charged a slight fee with another bank as well. So, um, Neko-san. Neko-san?
Where is
Khao Yai.
Neko-
Khao Yai? Or are you...
Neko-san?
Is this a complete
Cat.
different tangent?
Neko-san is Miss Cat in
Are you
Japan.
talking about a Thai location or Neko-san as
Japanese.
in Japanese, which is
Neko-san.
cat person? Oh, TMB has no fees to withdraw from other banks. All right, that's good to know.
They always have a good promotion TMB. If you have a TMB card or credit card.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Now as you can see, there are so many different banks. The one that I opened up with though is K Bank. I'm not like promoting them. I'm not like affiliated with them. But this was what everyone else told me to do, and they're just everywhere. So you won't have problems finding the ATM. You won't have. I mean, I can talk about negatives. Okay, the lines are usually long at K Bank. That's one negative because there are so many people using it. But the one thing I also like about K Bank is their app. So out here, you do a lot of things with your bank application. You literally, like my K Bank account has a barcode scanner. So I get my K Bank account app. I get a barcode scanner. I scan the bill, my electric bill, my phone bill, whatever, and then I pay it directly with a transfer. I mean, I don't even have to enter the account number, set up bill pay. I just go barcode, and then I scan the barcode on my bill, and I'll pay it. So that was even more convenient to me than going to 7-Eleven and paying it. That's one of the reasons I got K-Bank. Uh, you start to get really lazy living out here, you know, like because things become so much more convenient. Like you find even more convenient things to do. I know you guys in the States, you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's like, because I know I used to set up like 15 bill pays in my account and then have recurring transfers. But K-Bank does help you out with that kind of stuff. SCB also has it. I'm sure the other banks will eventually have it too, and I'm sure Bangkok Bank has it too. I just don't have experience with them. But getting to the point of this now, when I went to K-Bank, the first K-Bank I went to was in Rama 9, which is by the mall that I showed you guys on why I why I live in Bangkok. And they said I can open it. Okay, the only thing I brought was a utility and a passport. Okay, a utility and a passport. And
You have to get the salary from.
no, at that time, I did not even have a work permit. I'm sure of this. But I had bought a utility bill, a passport, and then the title to my house that I own a property out here. Okay? And then they said I can open it, but I have to set up like some kind of life insurance.
Yeah, I know.
They're trying to sell me something. I don't really fall for that kind of stuff because I used to work for a bank. So I know like sometimes they'll say shit, you know, like maybe they have a sales goal or something. It's like banks out here are no different than banks in the States, you know, they have the same antics. So I'm like, no, you know, let me check out another bank. So I went to the bank in Terminal 21. Not Terminal, I'm sorry, the Exchange building in Asok, across Terminal 21, where that Citibank is, the K-Bank there. I set up my account there, no problems, no questions asked. Love Pat saying life insurance is definitely a trick, yeah. You're not gonna try to cross-sell me some usage. And if you are gonna set up bank accounts, just in my experience, I'm sure there's other people who have different experiences. I recommend that you go to that Exchange building in next to Terminal 21, because I found that the people who work there, the employees, their English, like everyone is almost fluent in English over there. They're more used to dealing with foreigners. There's like a big commercial building, like I think half of it's owned by Japanese. I may not be exaggerating, like it's a huge international office building there. So all the foreigners go there and they deal with those banks. So they're less likely to pull tricks and stuff like that on you. I recommend that you go there. And yeah, I didn't have much issues. They're very clear at explaining what I needed. Now, oh yes, I purchased the insurance from Bangkok Bank after visiting 3 branches. I didn't care. I was just happy to get an account. Oh, you fell for the insurance trick too. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to completely discount that as a trick. Maybe having life insurance establishes like some kind of residency, and that's how they do it. It's possible. I mean, working at a bank, I know there are definitely bankers who are not necessarily misleading, but they just don't know better. And there's like one process that the branch manager will tell them to do, and that's all they know. You know, they don't know like when you go and you want to do something complex, like someone just died, you need to like do beneficiary stuff. You want to go to the most experienced banker because they're the ones who have done it. Other bankers are just there to try to sell you something, and they don't even care to do it, you know, the proper way or go through the exception paperwork. But that's why I recommend that you go to a bank where they're used to dealing with a lot of foreigners. And I know that one at the Exchange 21 building, they're used to dealing with a lot of foreigners. So I'm sure those bankers are more attuned with the extra paperwork or other stuff they have to do to set up a bank account. But yeah, I mean, you might need life insurance or health insurance or whatever insurance they are selling you. In which case, go for it. But yeah, I mean, that was my experience. I went to the second one, they didn't charge me. Most of the time, you can get stuff done by going to other branch. Yes, Pat. They want me to get a CD account. She kept saying 10% return tax free. Actually, the the returns here are really good. You know, as you'll find, like you're used to like 0.5% in America, but it's quite normal to have high interest rates out here. I personally haven't done it myself, you know, because I feel like my home, like the condo I bought itself, as far as my risk exposure to Thailand, it's more than enough, maybe even over. So, but I know like even my Vietnamese friends, like other Vietnamese bankers that used to work with me in America, they would take their money and go to Vietnam and invest it. It's not even an investment. Like they put in a CD account, a time deposit account, and they're getting 16, 17%. And I couldn't believe myself back then. I mean, believe them. Like what? How can they pay you 16, 17%? But, you know, there's economy is improving hugely in all these Asian countries, Southeast Asian countries, particularly in Vietnam. So I could see how that could work. And those guys, you know, after a couple years, you know, almost doubled their money. So yeah, it is what it is. You guys could look into that. I personally haven't. I don't have money to. You know, it's like money is not my problem because I have no money. So yeah, so that was my experience. Uh, so if you're in a similar situation where you think you're going to be living here very, very long term, I think there's going to be ways you can open bank accounts. Um, is it? It's going to be most difficult if you go to a very local branch. So I recommend that you go to a branch that a lot of foreigners go to and try it there. And it is important to go to a branch where you think you'll frequently visit it because I found out that whenever they have a complex issue that they don't want to resolve themselves, even something as simple as um, one time I had an ATM card and then I lost it, which happens a lot out here. It's like a whole tangent, but I wanted to get a new one. Forward contracts. Yes, exchange rate is an issue. So that's what I'm saying. You don't want to expose yourself to too much risk in one country, especially a country that you are not a citizen of. I mean, although I feel relatively safe about my status here, you always have to realize you're not a resident here, you know. So there's always a worst case scenario where you might have to leave this country, and it doesn't matter if your money is adjusted for inflation here, or you know decreased by deflation. I don't know what the other term is, but yeah, I mean you always got to be mindful of the inflation in your home country, um, and that's why I don't advise people to put all their eggs in one basket, you know, unless you're a citizen of that country, or at least a resident. Oh, the exchange rates are annoying even for Thais. Yeah. Yeah, it's annoying, but if you look at it on the positive side, because there's fluctuations, you have like you have an arbitrage situation sometimes, right? Sometimes the exchange rate will be really, really good, and you'll get so much more for your money. So you can plan your trips and stuff around there, like going out of the country or buying big things. I know another thing that somebody else was commenting was that a common complaint I keep hearing is that electronics are so expensive out here, like iPhones and blah blah blah. But generally American brands, because Chinese electronic brands, like I found out recently by purchasing like a gimbal, a Zion Crane gimbal, etc. They're actually cheaper out here than even in the States. Um, oh, go to another bank to do something in a small thing. Let me finish this train of thought though. But a big positive about that is because everything is more expensive out here, like iPhones and stuff, you're eventually gonna go back to the States, or you're gonna have friends visiting from the States. So how many times a year are you gonna buy an iPhone, right? I buy it maybe once every 3 years. So I can usually time those big purchases, the big electronic purchases, coinciding with people who are visiting me here and stuff. So I'll buy it like on Black Friday, have my sister hold on to it, and then she'll bring it to me when she's visiting, or bring it to Korea and I get it there. But because there is such a huge price difference, even the resale market out here, the prices are higher, you know? And there is a huge demand for these things like iPhones. This is not a third world country. I think there are more ties with iPhones than I see back in the States.
So many cats coming.
Oh, so many cats are coming here. Wow. So, oh my gosh. I can't hold a train of thought. Maya here. But anyways, an iPhone out here is almost like currency. Mayu would say this, like, Thais will buy an iPhone because it's literally like cash. If you have a hardship, you sell your iPhone and you downgrade to a lower iPhone. It's like how liquid, the liquidity of an iPhone, being able to convert into cash. It might just be as easy as converting stocks to cash. So you buy it at a super low price in the States relative to here, and you sell it here at a higher price. So your cost to own is actually less than the States. So just people who complain and are negative about, things being expensive, I really don't think they've lived out here long enough to understand this. So I'm just saying they're positive to these fluctuations in prices compared to the States. You have arbitrage opportunities that won't be available in the States because everything is a fixed price, right? So it is what it is. But yeah, that's how I opened the bank account. Now, if you're not gonna buy a home here, you're not planning on staying here long term, in which case you would have a work permit and that kind of deal. Or you're not retired, right? Or you're not super rich. Okay, this is gonna tie in with my visa thing. Then I don't really see a reason for you to have a bank account here. I'm not saying you can. I think you still can have. There's always a way and an exception, and with connections, a way to get things done in Thailand. I mean, in the rare case you're not one of these archetypes of a person who should be living in Thailand, but you still need a bank account, I'm sure there's a way you can open a bank account. It's not going to be easy, but let me just go over my next topic and then I'll tie this in. But the other big question I get is, how do you stay out there? What visa are you on, I want to detour from this a little bit. And when I hear this, I think what it has to do with is lately there's been a lot of these Thai vlogger trolls who've been picking on certain Thai vloggers who don't seem to have a certain status here. And then there's this whole negativity thing going on. And then they just they want to find a reason, a negative reason to discount a person's life or their YouTube channel, and then they say, you don't have a legal status here, right? Because they're on tourist visas or something. I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of people who assume that I'm on a tourist visa, and I'm some loser that's on some tourist visa and don't have some legal status, and I must be doing this and this and this, and they already have some kind of idea in their head. And I feel like they're not from here, because if you're from here, then there's literally a visa for every applicable situation for you to be living out here. But they probably might have been listening to some trolls back in the States who have absolutely they only know 30% of what is out here. And then they have this concept that to be living out here, you have to be in some illegal status, without even really knowing the full picture. And then they assume they know me. And then they say like, you're some loser that's on tourist visa or blah, 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 right? And it's just, it, it annoys, that's pretty annoying. But let me tell you this. In my opinion, I think Thailand has one of the easiest like policies as far as foreigners coming here, one of the most open visa policies. A lot of people will with me on this, but me having gone to other countries and knowing how hard it is to get a visa into there, you know, like Thailand is actually a relatively easy country for you to get a visa. I don't know too many countries that have all the different visas for foreigners to live out here, like Thailand. That's why you have so many darn foreigners living out here. I mean, just forget all the trollings and the people who nitpick about little small facts and inconveniences about getting visas out here. But just look at the fact of how many expats are living in Bangkok and in Thailand. They're obviously living here because there's a way to do it, you know? And not everyone is illegal. Let me tell you. So first of all, let's talk about the different people who would be living out here. Let's say you're someone like me. You're not you're not like so rich. You still live relatively paycheck to paycheck. I mean, I sort of saved up a little bit of money so that I could at least buy a condo out here, which helps me not have to work as much. Um, okay, 9-day check-in rule. I'll cover that. Um, okay, I'm not saying that that's not inconvenient, but relative to other countries, like I think there's, aside from the 9-day check-in rule, there's I think it's relatively easy to get things done. Okay, that's a side factor. Okay, that I'll discuss at the very end. But first of all, if you're someone like me, then you can get a work permit, right? And people think that this work permit is some like fairy tale, like hard to get thing, but it was really easy for me to get a work permit. You know, like I some people I knew still using Fortran for things like fluid dynamic computation. Okay, these guys are talking about robotics. Um, so, yeah, if you have a reason to work out here, then you should be able to get a work permit. And even if you don't have any relative like qualification or skills, you could, I mean, that's why there's so many English teachers. That's like the easiest job for you to find. There are tons of videos about finding jobs as an English teacher out here. I'm not even gonna cover it. Worst case scenario, you can be an English teacher, and the school will arrange for your visa, right? I'm not saying you should be an English teacher. If you can get another job where you can transfer your profession, I recommend that you do that. Most of my subscribers that have actually moved out here have moved out with really nice paying jobs from international companies, you know, such as accounting company. There's tons of international companies out here. So you should be able to come out here and work for an international company. Wait. Let's say you're young and you're not like me. You're not in your mid 30s. You don't even have a savings, so you can't afford to work part time. Blah blah blah. Yeah, then you're young, so you should be relatively open to be working 40 hours a week, right? And do what Mayu did, right? Work at a hotel. She makes, you make 70, 80,000 baht. I don't. She makes more than I do. All right.
For sure.
Tons of hospitality jobs out here. That's probably the second easiest job to get if you have no actual qualification. The 90-day check-in requirement. Okay, so let's say you do have a work permit. One of the downsides is the 90-day check-in. It's a pain in the butt to go all the way to Changwatana. I actually did a whole vlog about this, guys. It's not that difficult. I just set an alarm. Oh shoot. I need to do my 90-day check-in. But yeah, I set an alarm, and what I do is I mail in my 90-day check-in. Yeah, it's just couple photocopies. I already have a bunch of stuff photocopied already. I just need to make a photocopy of my most recent visa if I've traveled. And I mail it. I mail it for like 8 baht, 9 baht. I don't know. On the way to the movies, I drop by the post office and I mail it. It's not that difficult. It will take 5 to 10 minutes of your 3 months to enjoy living out here. I really don't understand people who complain and see this as a deal breaker. You're enjoying life. You have so much more free time out here. What's 5-10 minutes every 3 months to do this? Okay, I admit, relatively annoying 90-day check-in. You know, let's say you forget about it. I'm in that video. I show you. You can actually just go to an agency, give them, what was it, 500 baht, $13. You don't even have to do the photocopies or anything. Just drop it off at an agency and they'll do it for you. So it's not that big of a deal. Now, let's say you don't want to work like me, or you're not a young lad who wants to start out from the bottom at the hotel industry, like Mayu. Then a large majority of people are retired people. There's a visa for that too. If you're a retiree, you have a retirement visa. Now, I don't know the details about it, and I don't even want to go into the details of it because there's so many vlogs that talk about the details of getting a retirement visa. You guys can search on the YouTube. I double checked I actually searched visa requirements on YouTube before because I was thinking maybe I should do a video on it because I keep getting asked questions. But the reason I didn't do it is because there's just a wealth of information out there from far more qualified people than I am as far as getting different kinds of visas, right? So it's just redundant of me to say so. The people who are commenting about and trolling me about, me being some illegal like status out here, obviously haven't done the research. It's so easy to be in a legal status out here. Now let's say, what's the other situation you could be in? Let's say you're just filthy rich, right? You're either a retiree, you're not old, and you also don't want to work like me. You're just a filthy rich person that's young, right? And you don't have to work. Well, there's a visa for that too. Like what was it, babe? The gold visa or whatever? There's a 200,000 baht over elite visa. How much was it? It's like 200. You pay 200,000 baht or something over a period of 5 years, and I think you can renew it. But you can literally pay your way into a legal status out here if you're rich. And if you're thinking, oh, this is a lot of money, but if you don't have $6,000 to pay for that, then you have no. You have no business living out here and not working, it's like most of us still have to work for a living and have some sort of income. But a relatively wealthy or rich person can pay $5,000-$6,000 every 5 years to be, retired out here young. If you're retired and young, you're really, really rich. $5,000-$6,000 shouldn't be an issue for you. So you can just pay your way into it. Or let's say you're the kind of person that's rich, but doesn't want to spend stupid money and pay 5,000. That's even, you're stingy. Rich people become rich by being stingy, so you don't want to even pay that. Well, there's what's called an investment visa. So, if you're rich, you're always, and you're stingy, you're always thinking of ways to earn money. Then you can bring money here. There's other vlogs about it, but my understanding is, you can start a business here. And there's ways to not even actually use that on the business itself, but you can invest it in property or in stocks and stuff, and that's still considered part of the total amount of money you're bringing into Thailand. And then you can get an investment visa, right? What's the other one? Okay, and lastly,
Education.
let's say you are way below this, you're super young, you don't even have a college degree. There's an education visa. And actually, there's a lot, and I'm actually going to do a future vlog about this, but there's a lot of foreigners living out here getting a college degree out here at the universities. The tuition costs are super, super, super cheap out here. Pat, you can vouch for that. You know, like education costs in America, it's so ridiculously expensive. Um, and in Japan, as she states. In hindsight, I regret. Jack is talking, yeah, investment about getting your way into Thailand. I mean, I think the total amount was what? I know even if it's not an investment, like if you purchase a condo for 9 million baht or more, you get it. You get it. I don't know if that falls under investment. You can even purchase property to buy your way into it. So if you're some rich, filthy rich guy, there's a way for you to get things done here too. If you're super poor, you just want to go to school, there's an education visa. If you're sort of in the middle, you sort of need to work day to day. If you buy 4 condos, start a business, undergrad tuition should below than 2K a year. Yeah, undergrad tuition, so this isn't even applicable to you. So I don't want to hear trolls talk about a situation from a perspective of a person who's planning to live in the States, then you should live in the States. But a person who's planning to live out here, your Bangkok University degree is probably gonna be just as good as a degree back home if you subtract the cost of the tuition as far as your earning potential, right? Maybe you won't earn as much as back in the States, but you work out here, the degrees and your internships and everything, it's going to be more applicable to the situations around here. And I don't think you're going to get that much more money having a foreign college degree, you know? I have a degree from Cal State Fullerton. I have a business degree. That degree is no good out here. It's only good for teaching English at a language school, right? Because I have no direct work experience related to the professions that are out here. So you come out here, you can like work, get a degree in what was that, hotel.
Consider to do a PhD here.
Maya consider doing her PhD here.
Long time ago because it's cheap. And
Yeah.
like, I can finish in like 2 years, I guess. It
Yeah.
depends on the curriculum.
I mean, that's another thing. You can get like a MBA, PhD for super cheap out here. And that's going to be better than having an undergrad degree from a exclusive college out in the States, you know? I actually considered doing it in Korea. Like, generally, education costs in America is just ridiculous. Everywhere else, it's relatively reasonable. And funny thing, in Korea, your tuition is cheaper as a foreigner than as a local. That's why there's like a lot of... The reason for that is the Korean universities want a lot of foreigners as it ranks up their international accreditation status or something. So that's how they want foreigners to come and study. So your tuition as a foreigner is cheaper, which blew my mind. And I'm like, you know, worst case scenario, let's say me being a YouTuber, all this stuff is not gonna. I can always, you know, go to Korea, or maybe even here and get a degree and go back into the grind and change my profession. And something more relative to the future. Really, in Thai universities too, foreigners. Yeah, but anyways, I have a teacher. The guy I'll put in my future video is. Let's see if he agrees to it. I think he will agree to it. He works at my language school, but he's getting a law degree at.
Kasete University.
No, it's not Kasete. Anyways, it's one of the top universities here. And I can tell you, as a language teacher, I don't make much money. This guy had no savings, right? He's just like a young kid. He just came from Idaho and has no money. He works at the same language school as I do. He's making ends meet, paying bills, has a girlfriend he buys presents for that are far more expensive than what I buy for Mayu. Like, he buys her like Coach purses and stuff sometimes. and still manages to pay his tuition to get a law degree at like one of the top universities here. And how's his job prospects? His job prospects of working at a law firm here aren't that bad. Maybe it's more applicable than someone with a law degree from the States because they don't practice international law. I don't know, but his future looks pretty bright. And he's not doing this out of just out of the blue. It's because one of our other friends is a lawyer out here who worked at a Thai firm. Um, he was like a Marine guy. I think he got his law degree in USC, somewhere in California. But he practiced law in Shanghai and then came here and worked here. And then he's one of our close friends. So this other guy decided he also wants to be a lawyer and, talk to him and talk to the, I'm sure he did a lot of talking and research. I don't know all the details, but yeah, after all that, considering all his options, he decided to get a law degree out here. So if you want to make your life out here and, you're some young kid, that's an option too. I'm not saying that's what you should do. I mean, I don't want to get that straight for all the trolls to say I'm encouraging people to drop everything in the States and come out here because everything is going to be better out here. That's not true. There are certain aspects of living out here that are on the downside, such as inconveniences of having to do a 9-day report. But I'm just saying, for those people who are trolls about, there is no legal way to live out here, it's hard for me to think of how you could be illegally living out here. If you are seriously doing something illegal, like your income is dealing drugs or scamming people. I don't know, like which is exactly the reason why the Thais have these laws, because they don't want. I mean, it's all over the news all the time. There's these scammers or people who deal drugs, and they're cracking down on that, and that's why, because of these foreigners who are actually the bad apples of the bunch, they just make the laws a little bit more inconvenient than they necessarily have to. But if I think about it from the Thai perspective, it's completely understandable. One thing that you won't be able to do though is find a job out here that's like a low-skill job that also another Thai person can do. All right? I don't even know why you'd want to live out here doing that anyways. Why would you want to be out here grinding at a construction site or something? But yeah, I mean, the Thais, and I'm completely understanding, and I think every country should do this. You should protect the interests of your citizens first, especially the ones who are not rich, like the low-skilled people. So good guys in, bad guys out. Yeah, I don't see. I can be completely respectful of that. If there's only so many low-skilled jobs and so many Thai people who want it, they're gonna protect those jobs from foreigners. That's what it is. That's the only other thing I can think of. And one of those jobs that a lot of foreigners tend to do, it's like being like a bartender or like a security guard. I mean, those people are the ones that are sort of in illegal statuses, but they still do it.
Security
Yeah,
for the VIP or stuff.
for like clubs. I've seen like some like thug-looking guys.
Yeah, they want to have a like white guy, black guys. Yeah, sometimes. Depends.
I think they don't have a legal status here, but they still, if you're a security guard, you're relatively comfortable dealing with the uncertainties and stuff. So, I mean, there's still people that like that out here doing stuff. Lots of times when you're backpacking out here and traveling, I met a bunch of people who were working at like hostels and stuff, being a bartender slash manager, just getting free boarding, not really getting paid anything, but free room and board. And then that's how they would just backpack around everywhere. Which brings me to the last reason why you might want to be here. I think the law does not cover that many occupations. Most of them are super out of date. Yeah, and Maya was just reading the other day that they've delisted a lot of the jobs that are only for Thais that you couldn't get a work permit for. Now you can get a work permit for. Like one of them were artists. Oh, even construction, certain construction jobs. So Thais are being more open to this kind of stuff. Probably as the economy is getting better and there's a demand for, foreign workers in these areas. So you'll probably see that happening more and more. You know, Thais don't want to work these low-end jobs. Trust me, they'll let you get a work permit for it. So, yeah, like for you to be in a legal status, you have to be in a. I think you have to be doing something very criminal. I really cannot think of a reason why you'd be illegal out here in an illegal status. And lastly, let's talk about the tourist visas. Let's say you are someone that is not interested in living here long term. You just want to travel, YOLO, you know, maybe live out here for about a year. Then you got the tourist visa, right? And double check this, but when I was doing that a couple of years ago, there were multiple entry visas you can get at the Thai embassy of your home country. So this is just a convenience thing. You can still do it without it, but you can get multiple entry visas. But the tourist visas are 60 days. As an American, or most Western states, you can come in here without a visa and still stay for 30 days. Like certain Asian countries, like Japan and Korea, they can come here and not even get a visa and stay 90 days. So, was it 90 or 60 days? But I know it's more than Americans.
90 days.
90 days?
American, no. Korean 90 days, but Japan is 30 days, as usual.
Japan's 30 days?
Yeah, I guess 2 weeks, I guess. Or a month, I don't remember. But Korea for sure 3 months.
Yeah, Koreans get to stay here for 3 months, right? So that's when actually Koreans get to go to a lot of places and not have to pay for a visa. Like even Vietnam, I think they didn't have to pay for a visa. So, yeah, America needs to step up their foreign policy game. Like the American passport, at least in Asia, it's not the best passport. I think the Korean passport's the best. But side character aside, you're good for 60 days, and you can even extend this for another 30 days. So you can stay here 90 days traveling. So if you do the math, about 3-4 visas will have you living out here the whole year. But I really don't understand people who just do these tourist visas, go out and come in, because if you're here purely just to travel, which was my case, you should be going to another country in less than 60 days. I didn't even extend it to 90 days. In less than 60 days, I would go to another country. And then I would backpack in Vietnam for a month or 2 months. And then I'd come back, because I have a home base here because my aunt has a condo. So I like Thailand because there's international food. I'd recover, gain some weight, get back to exercising a bit more, talk to some of the girls that I was dating back then. And then 60 days goes by, I would travel somewhere else. And people say, why would you want to do that? And to me, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to do that. If I had the income, that's exactly what I would do. I mean, I think I told you Patreons already that if I make about the same amount of income from YouTube and my Patreon, which you guys are supporting me for, I would quit my job in a heartbeat, right? Because I would want to travel and go everywhere or make videos. One of the downsides is that because I was doing this travel for about a year or 2 at that time, when I was coming into the airport, they stopped me and they accused me of working. They thought I was working, and taking away Thai jobs or whatever, the immigration officer. And Mayu was there to clear that up. But that scared me, and I think that's when I talked to my buddy whom I met, at a club back in my days. And I knew he was teaching English, and he told me, "Oh, it's really easy to get an English job." I'm like, "Hey, hook me up with a job at your place." And within a week, I was teaching. I had like no English teaching experience. Within a week, they signed me up, and I was teaching kids, just having conversations with adults and stuff. Um, but because of that, it's harder for me to take vacations, travel to places. Um, I have a grandfather who's going through Alzheimer's, who I want to be with more, but I can't be with him. It's like there, so I'm tied down. So I, my other friends who have a income, like they're online dropship people and stuff. One of them is just in South America with his Thai girlfriend. He's been there for like almost half a year now. They get to travel and stuff. They get to be location independent. So if that is the case, a tourist visa is more than enough. And let me tell you why. I mean, some people think it's some big illegal thing to get a tourist visa and come back here frequently. But when I was having that conversation with the immigration officer there, when they're about to deport me because, you know, they saw that I was coming back and forth, the issue that they had was not the fact that I was a tourist, but at that particular time, I went to Sri Lanka and I was coming back. And the Sri Lankan embassy, the Thai embassy in Sri Lanka,
my back.
the Thai embassy in Sri Lanka, it was hard to get to. So I just wanted to come in with a 30-day no entry visa, no visa, and because I was planning on going to Vietnam for New Year's to see one of my friends visiting from the States, anyways, in like 20 days, and they said that was what they had an issue with because I didn't pay any money to get a visa. Right? After they cleared that out, I'm really, just traveling out here from Mayu, me showing them that I own a condo out here, that I have money and a way to sustain myself, and that it made no sense why I'd be dedicating 40 hours a week, to make a couple $100. They they said, they told me the true reason is, it's because I'm on this 30-day no entry visa. That's what they were looking out for. And I said, is it because you have a problem that I'm not working and just traveling and doing these tourist visas back and forth? And they said, no, no. As long as you get the tourist visa, then you should be fine. Now, I don't want you to take my word on that. I'm not lying to you or anything, but I'm sure it's like policies are enforced differently everywhere. And even if that was a policy, sometimes they'll do these random crackdowns of certain races or certain nationalities where they've had an issue. But as long as you're paying for that 60-day tourist visa, most of, like, I don't know anyone personally who's had issues with that. I have plenty of friends who do dropship, and they've been living out here longer than I have, more than 3 years, just on these tourist visas, because they can afford to do that, and they're literally here just to travel. They're location independent. They just want to live that YOLO life, and as far as what I've witnessed, you can be on a tourist visa and going back and forth and traveling wherever and having the time of your life, being location independent. Thailand has no issues with that. They just want to make sure that, I think they just want to make sure that you aren't just doing this 30-day thing and coming for free. So just pay it's like usually about $60, $40, depending on which country you go to, for that 60-day tourist visa, which I am more than happy to pay because I'm not paying Thai's taxes out here. I'm utilizing their infrastructure. I'm a guest of their country. So $40, $60 donation for every tourist visa in here, I think that's more than fair. So yeah, that's all I want to say. I hear so much negativity around this visa issue and having a legal status. I want to address that because it annoys me. Like, people are negative either in the fact that they think, Thailand is being unfair to them, because I don't think it's unfair. I think it's completely fair what they're doing to enforce immigration laws out here. And or people who are like accusing everybody else out here of living in an illegal status, because I personally don't know anybody who's living out here in an illegal status. they have a reason to be out here and they have a visa for it. So it would be hard for you to not have the correct visa for your purpose. Unless, you're friends with drug dealers or I don't know. I don't know what kind of element of people will not be in a legal status out here. To me, it just blows my mind, you know? So that is what it is. And I was gonna tie this in with banking. How was I gonna tie that in? I think I was just gonna say basically if you're just traveling and whatever, then then you'll probably just be on a cash basis. Okay, yeah, I remember now. So then you'll probably be carrying a lot of what I did when I was in my traveling state was I had a bunch of $100 bills. And it's important that you have $100 bills, not $1 bills, $20. You get a higher currency rate for $100 bills, right? And not in Thailand, you won't have an issue, but for traveling to Vietnam and stuff like that, make sure you have new bills because they like to accept new bills. Some places won't even accept old bills. So have the most newest bill because they want to make sure it's not counterfeit and stuff. So have the most newest $100 bills. I would carry that around in a little pouch. Maya knows this. Whenever I travel, I have this little pouch.
Always looking hot.
And I would keep the $100 bills there. And I don't think you need to carry with you more than $500 at a time. I cannot possibly see why you would need more than $500. Unless, I don't know. Okay, you could, but if you are, then you can definitely afford to pay the $3, $4 for the ATM withdrawal fees or whatever. But I had $500 in cash with me at all times. I had 2 credit cards as backups in case there's emergencies. I had 2 bank cards, 2 ATM cards. One Citibank and the other one was a bank of my choice. And I would carry all that with me at all times. And that's how I traveled everywhere. Sri Lanka, Vietnam, blah, blah, blah. Never had an issue. And why I think $500 is enough. I actually did a cost breakdown of everything I spent my money on in Vietnam for 1 month. And believe you me, I was having the time of my life back then. I wasn't frugal as I am right now. I was going to clubs. That's when I was single. Order 12 cans of beer. And the reason I cannot drink as much alcohol and stuff is because of those partying days. I think I screwed up my liver. So those things cost a bit of money. Like everything is cheap aside from drinking and partying. So and I still only spent $1,000 that whole month. Party. If I go back again, I'll probably only spend about 500 unless there's been huge inflation in Vietnam since the 2 years I've been there, 2 years ago or whatever. So yeah, $500 to $1,000 I'm relatively comfortable carrying with me at all times. And I have my passport in that pouch. And I have roughly about $100 to $200 in local currency that I carry with me at any given time. And most places will exchange that $100 American bill for local currency. And if you're from another country, if you can, carry US dollars. US dollars is pretty much king out here. What country was it? Cambodia prefers US dollars. Like $1 bills and stuff. You'll go to restaurants and I'll give them $1, $2 or $3. And I would say, you know what, convert it to Cambodian please because I want the local price. They want American dollars because you can't get change. So I had to go out of my way to convert it to Cambodian money because they want American dollars in Cambodia. So US dollar is king out here. That $100 bill is gonna get you far. That's what I carried. And if you need any more, every month or so, I would just withdraw, pay the $3, $4, $5 for the ATM fee, and then withdraw $5 to at most $1,000 and carry it with me at all times. So that's how I managed it. And then when I'm in the hotel, sometimes I don't want to carry my passport, so I would hide the passport somewhere, under the bed or somewhere like that. in hindsight, I feel like I was just paranoid because I've never had issues with anyone stealing anything. But I would just do that, and then I would carry like a copy of my passport or my American driver's license, and that's enough to get me entrance into like clubs and things like that. You don't need like a local ID, like a copy. And the reason for that is I was afraid more of not of people stealing it, but more of myself losing my ID or valuables when I'm drunk or something. So that's why I would carry just a copy of my passport. Yeah, you don't want to go
He
through it.
doesn't like it.
Oh, this cat doesn't like it. So that's how I dealt with money and finances out here. Um, oh, hello. That's cool. Uh, yeah, actually, did I answer your questions about dealing with money and stuff, Jack? Anyone have anything else to add to that? Like any other questions? Like what else do I do with my money?
He doesn't like touching the butt. Kami, I guess.
I'm thinking, what else do I do with money? Pretty much carry around that $100 bill about, yeah, whenever I travel for $500.
You don't need to carry a lot of cash.
You don't need to carry, I have an ATM just in
I've
case
seen
of a
a
backup,
lot
two
of this
ATMs.
where the cash was stolen on the street. They lost their passport, and we had
Yeah.
a lot of cash.
It's best not to carry a lot because you could lose it. And not because people are stealing it. I'm more afraid of yourself losing it. That's what I see happen more times. I hear less stories of something being stolen than as of some drunken night. They're partying and they misplace it. So yeah. My cousin just came out the other day where we went to a club. He left his bag, had his passport, all his money, everything at the club. 2 hours later, he realizes he's lost it. We go to the club. They had it lost and found. Right?
Super lucky.
So, yeah, that kind of stuff. Oh.
Don't disturb.
Yeah, I think I've answered it. It's like over an hour now, so I'm gonna wrap up. Hope this answered your questions. I think I'll go ahead and make this particular vlog live stream public for the benefit of my regular viewers. I know I was a little bit more candid on this. I'm not my happy, positive self, but this was, yeah. Jeez. I actually wrapped up my main Discuss Asia live series, but there's always like some kind of trolling that happens that triggers me to have these discussions. I try to shelter my main viewers from the BS, and I have my comments on review, like for possibly inappropriate stuff. So you don't have to see like, you know, like I don't want you to be afraid of something that you should absolutely have no reason to be afraid of. Yeah, I think in my opinion, I've been misled more as a person living in the States to think that there's so many negatives and it's so dangerous out here. Then I was portrayed of the life out here as being positive. So there's enough negativity out here, and I want to be that counterbalance of letting you guys know it's not all that bad. It's not perfect out here, but it's not all that bad. Yeah, Jack is saying just to ignore all the trolls, never to respond to them. Yeah, I mean, if it's true, like actually, there's degrees. I don't think everything is trolling. Like I think some people are just legitimately afraid. They're not trolls. And like the trolls, yeah, I don't even respond to it. Like trolls in a sense when they start calling me racial slurs or whatever, then I don't respond to that. But there are some trolls who just don't know better, and they're just afraid because they've heard the true, like real trolls, like the people who are just negative for the sake of being negative. And then they themselves, because they haven't been out here, don't know better, and they're afraid to come out here, and they just sort of want everybody else to be in the same situation, right? Because they're too afraid to come out here, and but they're jealous of the people who are out here and having fun, so they want everybody else to see the world in reality their way. But if they're reaching out to my channel and they have legitimate negative questions, and I feel like this might be like a troll, but deep inside, I feel like this person is just unsure and just wants this question answered, then I'll respond to it. Because I myself, I was like that, when I was in the States. I knew that life, like I hear people having positive experiences and I see people having negative experiences, but for whatever reason, I was ideologically convinced that my life was better out here in the States, and I wanted everybody else to think like that. So even though I wasn't like a public troll and I would troll on channel, like I think that's just inefficient. But inside, I was thinking, you know, there's gotta be a catch to this, you know? So that's why I do respond to people who are negative because I like to think of myself when I was in the States and what I was thinking. And I don't think, like, there's different degrees of trolls. They're just completely ignorant and whatever. Like, if I start hearing like racist stuff or whatever, and there's really no point where I'm responding to them, I give them, a response to whatever fear they have, but they just keep bringing up negative and irrelevant things, and just until the end, and assume they know me, like, that I'm illegal and I'm just misleading people. Then I know, okay, this person just has an agenda, and I just stop responding to them. And I just try to respond to the people who are just negative because they legitimately are afraid and they just don't know better, And I'm not saying Thailand is for everyone, but I just want to get everybody to at least a point where they just understand that it's not all that bad. It's at least worth traveling to. So they themselves can figure out if it's worth living out here or traveling out here long term, you know? And I would, like, I'll go on the record and say, even if they like Thailand, I would say, even if they like Thailand, like traveling out here, living out here is probably not appropriate for more than 50% of the people out there, Which, yeah, I'm not saying like this is like everybody should immigrate out here. Hell no, No. It's in my personal interest to tell people not to do that because, like, why are people watching my channel? Because it's interesting. If everybody was living out here, then I'd be out of topics for my channel. I would have to like move somewhere else to try to show you guys something more interesting. So yeah. All right. We're gonna wrap up, but I'll show you what's happening. We have since. Oh, this cat has put his tail. Yeah. There is a cute little girl. I forgot. Oh, good. Hello. Their daughter was playing with this cat. She's not even afraid. It's so funny because I'm afraid of like rabies and stuff, so I don't cat. This cat was like, and then she just kept touching it. It's funny. That's what's happening. Oh, there's a cute little girl. Yeah, this is what's happening.
There's people waiting outside.
Oh, there are people waiting outside. With the I don't know. He's saying what happened was started with the Thai vegan bloggers and somehow moved over to the regular Thai blogging community.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know I do know there's just a lot of vegans in general. And I have nothing against vegans. I think it's noble what they're trying to do.
There's more cat.
But I just I have the thing that I have a thing against is Oh, oh. So you can purchase like little tuna treats and stuff to feed them.
But this guy is not interested.
Which guy? He just wants to sleep. This guy. He's like, he's like the meanest cat. If you like bother him too much, then he'll just rat. But yeah, the only thing I have a negative thing against are people who believe like their reality is the only reality, and are must be hard to be a vegan in Thailand. No, actually, I don't think so.
Restaurant, Indian restaurant,
Yeah.
Vietnamese restaurant.
I'm not a vegan. I'm a realist. Like I'm too poor to be a vegan.
I
You
mean,
know?
if you
But
choose Thai food,
if-
it's hard to be a vegan. But
Yeah, but if
There are a
if
lot
I
of
had the
options.
money, I would only eat vegan stuff. It's really healthy stuff, man. Like
you're gonna give up some yourself? No, I don't think so.
maybe not. Okay,
No.
you're right. I do like my. Oh, guys, sorry. My battery literally died. It was 100%, an hour and a half. We're just through. But anyways, more topics for the future. I'm gonna just wrap up here. We gotta enjoy the cats and stuff. It's so cute. Look at this girl. She's feeding and playing with the cats. Yeah, and then Maya wants to take pictures with the cats and stuff. But yeah, whatever the case, I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I'll see you guys next week on the Patreon streams. Really, really, really appreciate every single one of you guys. Yeah, you guys are huge support to me. Yeah. Yeah. Bye bye.